Hi, I'm Julian, and today I'll be presenting my research on the effect of trade openness on Chinese regional growth disparities. How does trade openness affect inequality? This is a question of profound empirical significance. The traditional Hesher-only model predicts that as a country engages in international trade, the real returns to factors that are abundant are amplified. In the context of a large developing country like China, it would be land and unskilled labor that are the main beneficiaries of trade openness. Does this prediction match up with empirical evidence? Several single-country and cross-country studies have suggested the otherwise, but they are also plagued with various issues. Therefore, we run our own regressions using Chinese data from 1992 to 2020. We examine the impact of trade openness on provincial growth divergences. We hypothesize, in accordance with the Hesher-only model, that inland provinces should grow faster than their coastal counterparts because they have a higher concentration of land and unskilled labor. Now a bit of context. Trade liberalization has started since the paramount leader Deng Xiaoping's Southern Tour in 1992. Local and central governments reduced barriers to trade, including tariff reductions, dismantling of import substitution lists, and challenging the monopoly power of state trading enterprises. The weighted average tariff rate dropped from 32.2% in 1992 to 4.25% in 2006. However, these measures were disproportionately spread between inland and coastal provinces, as shown by the Coastal Development Strategy, which established special economic zones and allowed flexible government measures along the coastal provinces. Between 1991 and 2004, over 90% of trade and 80% of FDI flew into the coastal provinces. We obtained data from the Chinese Statistical Yearbooks and the World Bank World Development Indicators. We classify provinces as inland or coastal, as geography is exogenous to growth outcomes. Coastal provinces are the 11 provinces as indicated in this map. They are important to the trade routes out to the East and South China Seas. We regress provincial growth rates on national level trade openness to avoid issues of reverse causality, as it is quite unlikely that national trade policy is dependent on the outcome of a particular province. Now, let us have a look at provincial endowments. Inland provinces, as indicated by the blue lines in the graphs, have substantially higher endowments in irrigable land, but at the same time, they have less capital per person and a less educated workforce. This is our empirical strategy. We regress the change in gross regional product per capita of province I at time t on the dummy indicating if the province is coastal, the national level trade openness variable, and an interaction term of the two. The coefficient of the interaction term captures the differential impact of trade openness on GDP per capita growth between inland and coastal provinces. We also include national level controls including GDP per capita growth, CPI inflation and arable land per capita, as well as provincial level controls such as the past period CPI inflation, log GLP per capita, and the high education coverage. We found strong evidence that trade openness reduces inland coastal inequality. The coefficient of the interaction term is negative and significant to the 1% level, regardless of whether controls are added. This finding is also robust to the adoption of both measures of trade openness, including the sum of imports and exports as a proportion of GDP, and the weighted average rate on manufactured products. It is also robust to the adoption of an alternative measure of exposure, which is provincial per capita trade, in place of the coastal dummy. Furthermore, by augmenting the coastal dummy with a factor of high education coverage, log GDP per capita, and irrigable land per capita, we explore how factor endowments affect provinces' capacity to benefit from trade liberalization. We found support for the HO hypothesis as provinces with high endowments in land and unskilled labor benefit more from trade liberalization. That corresponds to the relative endowments of the inland provinces. In conclusion, our results show that by increasing trade openness, inland provinces benefit more from their coastal than their coastal counterparts at the margin. Our finding aligns with the HO model in the large developing country context. However, Generalizing our results to other countries and time periods requires caution, given China's unique context and potential structural breaks arising from shifts in relative endowments and economic structures. Thank you.